Are you okay?
It's that time of year.
Are you okay? Did you do your Christmas shopping? Did you do your Black Friday shopping? What are you getting for your niece? What are you buying her?
That's a good one. I don't know. Usually I just go gift cards.
You cannot get a baby a gift card, Joseph.
Well, yeah, it's for the parent.
You should get the baby a gift. Baby's first Christmas.
I don't know. Maybe, I feel like everybody's just going to like do too much with that.
And that's okay. Uncle Joe needs to too.
We'll see. I mean, this goes away from like what I enjoy about Christmas though. Most of my shopping is done outside of gift cards for the most part. I think I got to get one more thing.
You get gift cards for cheese?
For the baby, yeah.
Okay.
I think, well, she's going to be, I don't know, maybe once they hit 2, then I can actually get them like gifts. But I feel like...
Yeah, like you don't want to be known as like Uncle Joe. He just gets you gift card. Got a gift card from Uncle Joe this year.
Well, it's because it's for the parent, because then I feel like I give you the opportunity to get them clothes or toys or formula. Like you do what you want with that.
Okay. Or you get something for the baby. So then when the baby grows up, like say you got them like a really special little stuffed animal, they forever know that special stuffed animal was from Uncle Joe from when they were a baby.
That. I already got them that.
Yeah, but like it's different.
And a blanket with their names on it. So I mean,
Christmas is different.
Listen,
baby's first Christmas. You get an ornament.
I have an ornament. Christmas. Well, it's not that, but I do have an ornament.
Yeah, you need like a baby's first. It's a big deal.
I know, but it's a big deal. It's like everybody's gonna do that, so I don't know. But it's that time of the year. It's almost December, and I'm guaranteed to get sick.
Yes,
it's a fucking guarantee.
I have the sniffles. Joseph is a little under the weather, so we're both a little unwell, and therefore, both a little miserable, and that's okay.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like
as soon as I saw you, I was like, "What's going on?"
It's just like he
didn't even have to say anything. I was just like, the energy was just not there.
It's a funk in the air today. I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll get through it.
I think it was good because I could tell the sore throat was happening last night, and then
that was me a few days ago.
Yeah, and then this morning, like I just fucking knew. I did see the Grinch last night. I know you did. How was it? It was actually pretty good. Yeah, you went. You went together, right? Yes, I went. No. And I was gonna say because I went to Cleo's with Pete and Alex upstairs. Oh, so they didn't come to the actual show, but it was good though. P-Pack was all right. First of all, the seating was. Was it what I said? Yeah. Okay. So it was better. It was like even seats. So he had a like I don't know, what was it, a 22 and a 24 or something like that. It was like 10 and 12. 10 and 12, and he was like, do I have to like switch with someone now to get like 11? And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure they're even seats only. That's just what I remember from like places like that do like theater or plays. Like they always do evens, and I don't really know why, but I don't know. But I was hoping after I saw it, I was like, maybe they do even seating, and luckily they did. Yeah. It was good. It just the seats were a little bit like small. More for your knees, you know. So like I just went like spread eagle, but the kid that was behind me kept beating the fuck out of my chair, so that was annoying. But it was a good show. There was no intermission or anything. It was just like an hour and a half. Okay. Because if it was an intermission, I might have just walked out. I might have just left. It was just because I was getting tired. I wasn't feeling great, but it was good. It was a good show though. Good. I'm glad. Was there a lot of singing? All singing. Most of it was singing, yeah. Which I've never been to like a. Was that your first like theater show? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Outside of like elementary school when we used to do like fucking Annie and shit. Yeah, that does not count. I'm talking about like Broadway musicals that then travel and they do the traveling show. It's one of those things where like I could see a movie potentially that's not super in my realm. Like if a horror movie doesn't look great, I could go see it. Yep. A musical, I think, has to be. Sorry, my phone just rang and just threw me off. Oh, I didn't even see it. A musical, I think, would have to be very much like the Grinch. I would see the Grinch because it's Christmas. Like Chaz Palminteri used to do a one-man show of, which it wasn't a musical, but it was a one-man show of A Bronx Tale. Like it would have to be so niche to something that I like. That then you would watch it. Yeah, I wouldn't just go see it. Like if they did a Michael Myers. All about Michael Myers. Yeah, then I would go see it. I would go see that. Yeah, for sure. Would you go see The Lion King? The Lion King was a great one. It was a great one. No, it's not enough of an interest. You're missing out. Oh. It's really good. I'll never know. At least I got one under my belt. That's all I can say.
I'll take it. So this episode is actually not about theater, or Christmas stuff, or gift giving. Although we should do one like that.
Well, we're gonna have to because it's getting close to Christmas.
I know. Merry Chrysler.
Also, I got Sister John when she comes.
Yeah.
We got an episode with her.
I cannot wait. I'm very excited because I actually haven't met her yet. So
let's just do it right on the podcast.
Hi, nice to meet you. Anyways, let's do this episode. Yeah. So we have a lot of things that I turned 30 this month, so we'll do like a 30th birthday episode.
Yeah.
So we have quite a few things to talk about later on. But this episode specifically, we were going to talk about Squid Games, the challenge, episodes 1 through 5, aka those are the ones that I was in.
It's the only ones I've seen so far.
It's okay. The other ones just dropped yesterday. So we were very vague in the first podcast that we did about this because I couldn't talk about so much. So now we can go into detail. You watched it, and I'm proud of you because you didn't watch the original. And
I didn't. Well, I said I was going to watch this show, but
yes.
I didn't watch the original, but it was fun. It was entertaining.
Good.
I knew how it started because
me.
Because you had mentioned it, so I knew how it started. Trying to think, what was the game that they thought? I'm jumping ahead, but what was the game that they thought they were going to play, and they played Battleships instead?
Tug of War.
Because that team had, I know I'm jumping ahead, but that team had stacked that team specifically for a different game.
Is she okay over there?
It sounds weird because it's
muffled.
I think it's because it's probably the shower.
Yeah.
But it sounds weird.
It sounded awful in my headphones.
Can I just jump into Battleships real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You want to talk about it?
I know. I feel like
let's hear it.
We can go back, but
yes.
When I called you last week,
yes,
my thing was, and you don't have to say anything. You don't have to comment on this. This is just me, and I'm an outsider. I wasn't a part of the show.
Yeah.
They built this up, and it was a very tense moment in the show, and I like the way they did it. And it was basically like if they went fucking F5 or F8, the other team, they would have lost if they went F5 because you guys knew where the other boat was.
Mm-hmm. And we would have lost some of the main characters. So you would have lost Rick, the older guy, the mullet kid, Steven.
Yeah.
And then another one who was like, he wasn't as like played up, but a kid named Andy. So you would have lost two of the main characters of the whole show.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal.
That was a big deal. And they were showing different people's reactions to that being a big deal. But I was like, the time to really highlight the person that was in the last spot that was waiting to be like, are they gonna go 8 or 5? 8 or 5, 8 or 5. And they didn't. So I mean, you don't have to say anything. But I was a little bit like, that was the fucking time to really
like highlight that.
Yeah.
I think so. Like, I got to see the tension of it finally. It was like tenfold during the game. Like, I wish they got to show more of the game and the tension that was there for the game. Because, you know, the first game or one of the first few games was when they lost Brighton, who was like the villain, 4-3-2. And that one was kind of like, you kind of built up the emotion, but it almost like fell a little bit for me. But this one was like the last spot. Like, it was truly a 50-50 shot of them getting it right. And on top of that, the entire team on the other side was saying F5. There was one person, Dr. Rick, who said F8. So they really could have like, and I could hear them saying like, where are you? F5 or F8, where are you? And I'm like over there being like, telling everyone to like be quiet, like don't make any noise. Then we had someone from my team on the other side who was trying to make noise to like deter them, like to get them to not hit that spot. Yeah. And it just like, they didn't include any of it. I get that there's a lot of footage. There's a lot of footage and a lot of things that they're trying to put into like 45-minute to hour episodes. But they could include so much more. I said this during the show. I wish they did like a 24-hour live stream. It would have been like not fun, I guess, for like some of the downtime. But Big Brother does that and people love it. And I think that if they were to do a season 2, they would like highly benefit from a 24-hour live stream where people could just like follow along and be like, holy shit, like I feel the tension in the room. Like this is crazy. Like I can't imagine that.
Yeah. Because they did it. The whole production was what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
So how many hours in a week is like 168 times 3, right? And really you're getting, depending on how long the finale is, you're getting 10 to 12 hours, depending on how long. So 10 to 12 hours out of whatever the math is. 500 and something hours. Yeah. It's very
condensed.
It's very condensed.
It's funny because I'm making like a lot of TikToks and reels and stuff like that about the show, and people are like, I can't believe you did that. And I'm like, does no one realize that this is like a highly edited down version? Like now I know why so many people on reality TV or just like whatever, they're like, I don't understand how people jump to assumptions and conclusions when like things are edited.
Oh
like,
yeah, for sure.
There's things that are broken together and pieced back together that fit the storyline that's cool. But you just simply can't include that, like hundreds of thousands of hours into a show. Yeah,
and there's so many different reality shows and game shows to where like I've heard people after the fact say, oh, so and so was portrayed in a poor light. And it was the way that they maybe went around, like, it could be like one interaction with somebody that they highlight, that somebody came off looking bad.
Yeah. Yep.
And everybody else loved them or something. So there is a lot of that too, where they, in a way, vilify through editing.
For sure. There's one kid in particular, he's player 198. He's the one that 432 fought with. He's the one who had his hamburger and fries stolen.
Yeah.
They ceased to include the fact that, and this is like personal experience with him, this kid like made fun of another girl's accent who was from like Africa and said, why do you talk like that? This is the same kid who said that like all Americans are idiots. If you go on his TikTok profile, like he took a stingray out of an aquarium and put it on the floor and then like watched it suffer. And then people who are working there are freaking out to try to pick it up and put it back in, and the worker fault. Like this is the same kid who's like kind of like a douche. Like he's not a great person.
Right.
But they didn't give him a really like bad edit. Like he looked like this like innocent kid that we just all like stole fries from.
Yeah, he looked like almost like the vigilante to take down 432.
Yeah.
The way that it was portrayed. Yeah. I would have never known that he was, because they were pitting him as being like the,
which he absolutely wanted to take down 432, but he like.
But the second time he answered the phone, first of all, I wouldn't have answered the phone the first fucking time. Then he answered the phone the second time. I go, he's gonna fuck himself.
Yeah. So here's the thing: is that second time, if you watch it back, he runs from the left corner of the room over to go pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. The reason why is because him and I were sitting down talking and having like a heart to heart right before the second call happens. And then we're like talking about life, and he's Pakistani and like just things like that. And Middle Eastern thing, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the phone rings. And he's like, I think I'm going to go pick it up. And I was like, dude, do not pick it up. Like, you literally just picked up the phone. Like, this is not going to be good. And he just books it, picks up the phone. And then you see his face. It's like, you are now at risk of being eliminated. And he's just, like, taking a sip of water. And he's like... And like, he's like, oh shit, like I can't believe this is about to happen now. This episode is sponsored by our friends over at Be a Nice Human.
We don't agree on much on this podcast, but one thing we do agree on is our love for the Be a Nice Human brand.
Their streetwear includes hoodies, beanies, t-shirts, socks, and more to choose from with the simple phrase, Be a Nice Human.
Head over to beanicehuman.me and use the promo code HATETHAT. That's H, the number 8, THAT for 10% off your order.
And remember, you can still be a badass and be a nice human.
No, all right. My tactic in that, right? If they said you had to convince somebody.
Yeah, what would you say?
I would have just I wouldn't have said 432 because it's way too obvious. I would have picked a random number without knowing necessarily who it was and just saying, you need to take this call. Like they're requesting 367.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, 367 has to take this call. That's the way I would do it. And I don't know if it would work.
It potentially would have worked.
But I would have specifically called somebody out, because when you're so vague, like, if you guys want more food, somebody's going to take it. And like, somebody was about to, and they're like, nah.
A few people were actually about to, because what they didn't include is there were 2 phone calls before that phone call. One was where a kid got pizza and he got to share it with a friend.
Yeah.
And then the next one was donuts. And he got a whole 12-pack of glazed donuts.
Wow.
And he got to eat it in front of all of us. So we were all like, shit. And then the time that you see is the fourth time. It's the fourth call that comes in. And in like Korean culture, I guess, 4 is a very bad luck number. So 4 is a very bad luck number. So that was the fourth call, and the fourth time would have been eliminated. I think the smart thing to do would be to like call out a person's number and just be like, oh, I'm supposed to pass this along to whatever.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. The way he did it was like wrong. I get he went for sweets because at that point, which you don't see, like the time before we had donuts. So like he was going down the sweet route.
Yeah.
One of the kids that was about to go pick up the phone call, he had been complaining earlier how hungry he was, which is why he targeted him, being like, oh, you want chocolate muffins? Like they're offering chocolate muffins.
Yeah.
But like he also like kind of panicked. Instead of being like, oh, do you want chocolate muffins? Like I already picked up. So they said that like I can pass it along instead.
That's why
I froze. He was just like, who wants chocolate muffins? And everyone's like, I don't want chocolate muffins at this point. Not like that. Instead of being like, oh, I can't have, like, they're allowing me to pass it along since I already got a treat.
Yeah. I think that's the way to, if you're so direct with it, there's like, when you're so vague about like, well, someone needs to take this call, it's like, well,
yeah,
I don't know if I'm trusting all that.
I would have picked up the phone and like, of course, like you're like shocked at first, but the smart thing to do would to be like, try not to move your face.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, that's so awesome. All right, cool. Yeah. Hold on. And then like you put the phone down and you're like walking around and you're like, oh, this is like what's going on. But tough.
Just completely fake it. Yeah. I think that would be
the hard part is what if one of your friends picks up the phone? It's like, damn.
Hey. All right. So this is about 1 through 5, and 5 ended.
Tough.
And now here's the thing, right? Now again, I haven't seen the show.
Yeah, tough.
But if you've watched the show, because they said it after, they said that in the show there was something where they got tricked into doing stuff with a teammate or partner.
Yeah.
And it was marbles.
Yep.
So in my head, granted, I hadn't seen the show, but if I'm going to get a picnic because we earned a treat and I have to pick somebody, wouldn't you immediately think would you, if you were at that point, do you think you would have thought marbles or no?
So here's the thing. In hindsight, I'm like 100% I would have thought marbles, because in no way did we ever get a sweet treat without like a repercussion, essentially. Like there was a risk. So to me, I would think potentially, that this is not something good, and I should not pick like a friend, essentially. But when you're in the heat of the moment, you forget everything. Like all logic goes out the door. Because I remember being like, just like certain things, it's just like, oh yeah, like obviously things wouldn't happen this way. But like
you're in the moment.
You're in the moment, and there's emotions, and you're like a little sleep deprived, a little food deprived, and it's like all of a sudden like all logic goes out the door and you forget like, no, like there's something going on here.
The only reason I said that too is because granted he was wrong, but he immediately 432 immediately thought that they were playing tug of war. So like there was like a sense of like, oh, what's next? You know what I mean? So that's why I was thinking, but you're right. You're in the moment. You're sleep deprived. You're hungry. You probably weren't thinking, but it seemed like on the edit, nobody knew it was marbles.
It seems like nobody knew, which it was really, really smart of the kid. I don't remember his name, 232, something. Jordan, he was by himself. He was like, oh, I'll do it by myself. And I'm like, I want to talk to him. He like commented on one of my stuff the other day. I want to talk to him to be like, did you know? Did you have a feeling? Is that why you were like, let me sit by myself? Because in the show, which you don't know this, but in the show, there was a part where I think it must have been marbles, where this woman who was like, she was like crazy in the show. She didn't have a partner, and everyone thought that she was going to get eliminated. All of them went out to do like marbles, I think it was, came back, and she was still there. They let her pass through. It was like smart of her to not partner up, essentially. And they did the same thing in this show. So it was like, damn.
Well, knowing that the marbles thing now, but like before that, it's a risk. If you're going to go by yourself, you're either going to be saved or you're going to be eliminated. Which
it's tough because in all the other games, so like in Delgana, if you didn't choose like the cookie, if you didn't choose like the shape and all of the people didn't choose a shape, then you guys were all eliminated. So in everyone's head, it's like you're more likely to get eliminated if you don't pair up or if you're not part of a line or whatever. They didn't show it as much in the, I guess they showed it a little bit, but for tug of war, aka warships, there were only a certain amount of people that could fit per line. And in my line, we had one extra person. So people were trying to get him to move because we were worried that if we didn't have the right number by the allotted time, then we would be eliminated, and so would the line that didn't have enough at that point because we had one extra. So then it's like, at that point, it's like, you have to be, it's better to be safe than sorry. And that's, and I jumped ahead to the battleships because of that edit, but going back to the big thing was that game. Cookie. The cookie game. But the first one, all right, again, don't know the game, but you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the rules. The first four, now granted, they didn't know they were going to get eliminated. Right. But the fact that, and I know he was pissed, and he's like, I'm not taking it. The fact that you didn't, like, there's only 4 shapes. There's only 4 people. You have to pick something. You have to pick something. So you sitting back, what did you think was going to happen? And then it happened the first time. And then the second set, they fucking did it again. Like, I would rather take, and I know nobody wanted Umbrella, but I would rather take my shot and get eliminated trying than to sit there and be like, well, no. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. Yeah. I would rather take it and try. 100%. So, yeah, the first initial, like, shock of losing everyone was, like, bananas. But then when it happened again, I was like, no way. Like, why is this happening again? I mean, it worked to, like, my benefit, I guess, because I knew that if I went over there, like, if it got all the way down to me, which I was halfway through. But if it did, I would have been, like, I would have held my ground. And then the last 12 seconds, if no one was moving, I would move over to Umbrella, run, put my hand, and then play. Yeah. Like, I would have and that was kind of one of the things that I tried to have Spencer, who was like the last leader of mine, 299. He was like visibly shaken up. So there's a clip that they included where I'm in front of him and I'm just like, focus, hey, focus. Like I said, focus. Like, you need to breathe. And I was trying to get him to like focus on me because I could tell that he was gonna like lose it. And 432, the villain, is a strong personality. Like, he wouldn't back down knowing that this kid was going to crack. Yeah. However, if this kid held his ground, 432 would have done anything to play. So he would have went to Umbrella. He like mentioned it to his team that he would have went if it came down to it. Yeah. It's just a personality thing. Like, but you know what though? Kudos to him because he at least of the people before him, at least he took a shot. And he got eliminated towards the because he cracked it, but like at least he took a shot. I really think that he also would have made it through and been fine. He just like panicked and like he had the cookie in the tin, and then something happened where he just panicked and he took the cookie out and he was trying to do it like while holding it, and there's no stability. Like you can't do that. Like you have to there's no backing. Like, you have to keep it flat. Like in the tin, we were even worried to do it in the tin because the tin was on top of sand and the sand's not level. So we were all trying to keep like a really like smooth surface so that there wasn't like a ripple where then all of a sudden you try to get something and then it breaks. Yeah. So it makes it a little harder. But I think he would have made it. Is she okay? Is everything okay? It's just when you drop something, it just echoes so bad. Like funny. This is a total side note. I dropped my body wash in the shower this morning, and it was so fucking loud because I was trying to like shake it down, and it was so fucking loud. I can't imagine what it sounds like right here. We must be right over the shower, right? I don't know. Probably. We're probably just off of it, maybe. There was a bunch of people. So like, how many people passed the Umbrella? There wasn't many. I was one of 8. 8 out of how many? Because there was a lot that got eliminated. So to give hindsight, 5 people lost in Umbrella. 5 people lost in Circle. Then we lost 8 in Star. Hold on. Okay, 5 people lost in Circle, 8 in Star, 15 in Triangle, 37 in Umbrella. We lost 37 people in Umbrella. Okay, so if you had your pick, what shape would you have picked? I wanted Circle, and the first line of 4 people going out, my leader, captain, whatever, he was choosing circle, so I was pumped.
Did anybody get eliminated on circle? Sorry, I don't know if you just said
only
that.
5 people
Got eliminated on circle.
Yeah.
Damn. So that really was it was like.
Yeah. There should have been a lot less in triangle because there was actually more in triangle than there were in star, and star's harder. But people were just overly confident and a little cocky with it, and they messed up through it.
So do you think that benefited you to in a way get umbrella because you had to really, really fucking focus?
I got like airtime. I'm 100% certain that I got airtime because I was one of 8 to be umbrella. Like the way I came in was like a very like, honey, I'm home. And like that got shown. Like I think that, and I think if I made it further, it would have like furthered my storyline essentially. Yeah. Because it's like the underdog. It's the person who beat umbrella. It's the person who made it through here and here. Like, yeah. And that's how the show went. Like the winner of the OG show was someone who had umbrella, and they were an underdog, and they were this. Like they weren't necessarily the strongest or the fittest or the biggest or whatever. Yeah. So very interesting.
So through 5 episodes, because 6 through 9 is currently out, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, they just came out.
So through 5 episodes, was anybody still left that passed umbrella?
Yeah. So in battleships or warships, of the 8 people who passed umbrella, my boat was 3 umbrella people. So we lost 3 umbrella people in my boat, and then 1 that was in Brighton 432's boat. So that was 4. So there were only 4 left.
Jeez. There is so through 5 episodes, which is halfway through the show, there's still like 70 contestants. I mean, there's a lot of fucking contestants. There's 73 on the show.
But the way that this ends is marbles. Obviously, it's about to start.
It kicks off half. Well, about
half. No, half. Because only one.
The other kid, right? The kid that was by himself. So it's like one more.
Right,
basically
right,
half.
Right. So you automatically bring it from 73 to like 36 or whatever. So, you then significantly improve your chances of winning, which is crazy.
It's just funny because like
it through marbles, like.
But halfway through a show, I mean, it's hard to get so much airtime because I feel like there's only. I was telling you this after I watched the first 5. When we were watching, I said episode 5. I go, there's people that I've never fucking seen through 4 or 5 episodes, and I'm seeing them now for the first time.
And if you remember, my response to you was that the person who I think, because I don't officially know, the person who I think won the show hasn't even been shown yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So it's like, they're probably being shown in episodes 6 through 9, but 1 through 5, like you don't even see them. Wow. So it's really interesting. Like the top like 5 to 10, like you haven't even like really met them yet.
Yeah, because they're honing in on certain storylines, and once Steven and Rick got eliminated, which hurt.
That hurt everyone.
Great tactic though. What's her name? That cut
Felicia.
Great tactic.
She's getting a lot of hate.
You know
like,
what,
people
though?
are sending stuff about her kid. Saying
No.
Like,
listen,
bad.
I was rooting for those two, especially because I felt like once Steven's boy went away, I was like, I would have done the same thing and try to like get in with that older group potentially. But it was a great move though.
It was tough tactic.
And then she eliminated the guy who got the advantage right before her.
That one was a smart one. That was a smart. It's strategic. Like it was absolutely strategic. So episodes 1 through 5 really honed in. If you had to say like the top people, I would say 432 villain. Yeah. Mother-son duo. Mm-hmm. Rick and Steven.
Yeah.
And then they had, those are like the 5 main people. And then they had like a subsequent of people, which was my friend Jada. Yeah. Dash, the redhead kid, who you love, Dash. I know, and then Felicia, the girl who eliminated Rick and Steven. They like gave her a lot of airtime in the last like episode or so. Yeah. And then Danny, the girl who eliminated in the very first episode Player 200, and within the first few like hours of the game.
They also
they gave her like, I think there's top like 5 main personalities, and then I think there's another like 4 like personalities that kind of fell underneath that.
They started to, and I just the way it seemed, he was like a hero, and then they kind of vilified him at the end. Was the guy who got voted off the doctor that got voted off?
Oh, Dr. V.
He sort of seemed like he was started to get like vilified a little bit.
So actually, he was one of the ones who was from Umbrella as well. Okay. So then technically there's 3 left after episode 5, which is so sad. It's super sad to think about. But am I missing anyone? No. Yeah, I think there's 3 left. But yeah, it's just crazy to think about. Hold on. I'm trying to think real quick. Just give me 1 second. There's Saeed and Dr. V, Teo. Yes, there is 3. Okay. I'm like, was there 2 or 3? So there's 3 people after that make it past episode 5 from Umbrella. Dr. V was interesting in the way that he was super, super kind and got along with a lot of people. And then I think he started to rub some people the wrong way towards the very end, whether aggravate, I don't know. In the second half of the game, he slept above me. That guy wakes up super fucking early. Like we would be woken up at like 6. This guy would wake up at like 5, like jump down, and he'd be like ready. And I'm like, I still have like an hour more of sleep, Dr. B. Like, do not jump from the top bunk right now. I'm gonna murder you. But he was super sweet and he was super nice and like just super knowledgeable on top of that. But he got eliminated in that like essentially phone tag of typing in the numbers. Yeah. It was so that 4 underlying personality, there was a 5th underlying personality. It was Lorenzo, the kid who he stole 2 meals. He was the one in the flower outfit in his like processing. Yeah. So I would say 5 main and then 5 like subsequent personalities underneath. I forgot that he was in episodes 1 through 5. But yeah, he was the one who went up to Mama Leanne and was like, "What's your number? 302 or 302?" Okay, and then like went over.
First of all,
he did it for like just
because we had to rewind it because I was like, "Did that actually happen?" Why did he said 302 or 302?
He just wanted to let her know that he was going in to like put her number up because she put his number
up. But the way he worded it, I was like, we rewound it just to see. Like, did he actually fucking say it that way?
He's like a little Italian gem. He's super funny. But his mentality was like, so Leanne was upset that he was disrespectful and didn't take the apples or whatever. And he was like, have you not heard of Adam and Eve? Like, you don't eat the apples. Like, that's the number one thing. Like, I'm not taking shit from you, essentially. Like, so at the same time, I don't blame him. I think if someone was offered, there's no treats without like risk there. I think that was the only time that there was a treat with no risk. But how was anyone supposed to know that? Like, it was normal for him to be on edge and just be like, I'm not taking that.
And that's what the show creates, because then it created a little like sub drama right there.
Yeah. Yep. And I guess they found out later on that all of them were green apples except for one was a red apple. And if you had taken the red apple pieces, apparently you would have been eliminated. But no one really knows for sure because that didn't happen, obviously.
I like that. I honestly,
I guess we'll never know.
I respect the tactic to know about the apples.
Yeah. Yep. Adam and Eve. Yeah. You gotta learn from the past.
I was gonna say something. Oh, about the doctor. It seemed like too. Not to bring it back up, but it as time went on and people maybe were more sleep deprived and more hungry. Sometimes the just relax and just stretch. People are on edge.
People are pissed,
and they don't. And he's probably right to like, try to de-stress the situation. But sometimes when you're that hungry and you're that tired, I don't want to fucking hear that shit. I don't want to fucking hear it.
Well, that's what happened with, I can't remember what player it was. And then TJ. TJ is like the really tall, he was like part of like the Harlem, I think Globetrotters. His thing is like humility and gratitude. And he keeps saying humility and gratitude. He told me it. He said it like he gives a lot of credit to his wife and whatever else. And like, it's really sweet, but he was rubbing some people the wrong way because he would be like, don't forget humility and gratitude. And he would talk about how like grateful he was and whatever else. And people were like, just shut up. Like, I think it was Lorenzo. Lorenzo was like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Like, I'm over it. Oh, it was for warships. He's like, let's sink these ships. Like, forget about your humility and gratitude. Like, let's just go.
Yeah.
So it's funny to like kind of hear.
Because sometimes then it becomes like, it is a good message. Yeah. And they're right with trying to center people with that. But sometimes it's like there's a time and place.
Yeah.
and you got to kind of read the room.
People are on edge.
Yeah, at this they don't want. I don't want to fucking hear it, and I want you to, because then it becomes like it's falling on deaf ears in a way.
I know. It was bad. It started to get, people started to get really irritable real quick, and that was including myself.
Listen, you deprive people of hunger, I mean food anyway, and they become hungry.
Food, sugar, like daylight, sunlight, you're done. You're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Fuck everything. I just want like a happy meal and just call it a day. Like that's what I would kill for right now.
I'm so glad that, and I forget who it was. I'm so glad that they highlight. First of all, I would have never been able to do this because there's so many factors. But I'm glad they highlighted it, like episode 1. I don't know who it was, but they were sleeping near people that were snoring, and they're like,
Brighton.
It's like, are you kidding me? That would have been me. I would have been so there pissed.
3 people who snored incredibly loud. And that room is a giant room, so it echoes. But I was luckily in this corner where there was like all females and we were all like sound sleepers. So even though I could hear them snoring, it wasn't like right in my ear.
Yeah.
So I fell asleep and it was totally fine. But yeah, that was brutal for, I'm sure, a lot of people.
Oh my God. I wouldn't. I'm a light sleeper as it is.
You would have hated that. You would have gotten no sleep.
Yeah, and I would have been fucking miserable.
And they had like LED lights that were over our heads, like as we slept. Mm. And they would like turn it on and it would be super bright and like just annoying. Yeah. So you would have hated that. I covered my head for a lot of it. Like I would just put my comforter over my head and then fall asleep like that.
Did you guys get to pick your beds? I forget.
Yeah. We got to pick our bunks after, in the very beginning, like after each game. So like after when people got eliminated from like Cookie, then you would go in, you weren't guaranteed your same bunk. You would just have to go pick a new bunk.
Yeah.
If you got your same bunk, then you were kind of lucky.
It was an interesting look to the room.
It was cool to
see. It was kind of cool because I hadn't seen the show, so I didn't know.
5 bunks high, like you're in a like I slept with 197 other people, like in one room. It was bananas. I'll never be able to do that ever again. Like that same exact scenario.
No.
I hope I get like really cool scenarios and cool things coming up in the future, but I'll never be able to recreate that in my life.
I don't know if I would want to recreate, especially the sleeping situation. Like
it was dope though. It was dope. 10 out of 10 would recommend. You're gonna have to watch episodes 6 through 9 now.
Most likely this weekend. I'll
okay. I watched 6 and 7 yesterday. My friend from Jada from the show, she's coming down today, this afternoon, and I'm picking her up from the train station. We're gonna watch 8 and 9 together, nice. And then the finale is next week.
Now, where is she from?
Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the finale is just 10 by itself. It's probably gonna be a long episode.
Everyone is saying that episode like 7 is a little crazy, and then 9 is bananas. So I'm very anxious to find out what happens in 9 tonight. I have to keep an eye on this.
No worries. No spoilers because I likely won't watch
all of them.
No, I will, but I won't watch I won't watch 10 when it airs.
Okay,
it might be a couple days after. So
we'll have to see if we do. Maybe we can do
no spoilers.
A touch base of like 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10.
Do 10, yeah.
We'll do like an all-inclusive like recap, end of Squid Game, end of an era podcast.
This is like its own little like chunk of a podcast. It's like a subcast.
Yeah.
On the Squidwards.
Yeah.
I'm invested already though. I mean the first 5 we banged it out.
You really loved Dash, which made me really happy because he's one of my guys.
Now, all right, listen. I was rooting for Dash, but the problem is he said something he shouldn't have said. I know. He told somebody, and I know why, but again, like he should have just kept that because I was rooting for him.
I know.
But once he said I voted, I voted for so and so, but I lied.
Yeah, he was done for.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But then when he got eliminated and he started like shouting shit out.
He was like, there's a 4-person alliance, you, and you. See ya. Like, I'm out of here.
Peace.
Bye. Yeah. Best way to go out. I love him for that. Be sure to check out the next episodes on Netflix, and then we will do a recap on it. But for now, I love that for me, actually. You love that for me, too.
Yeah, but I for you, but
Okay.
I hate it for me.
Okay, fair.
I have to say it because I feel like the last few times I haven't.
We've been saying it. I know, we haven't been saying it.
I know I haven't been saying it. It's like the whole theme of the show was I hate that for me.
I hate that for you too.
Thank you.
Bye. All right.